Down with France, former colonies in Africa demand a reset, unmasking colonial shadows, from liberation to renewed struggles amidst the bustling streets of Bamako, Mali. El-Bashir Thiam, a security guard, welcomed French guests to a guesthouse nestled in this West African capital. Beneath the veneer of cordiality, Thiam's heart pulsed with a fervent cause to expel France from Mali, an emblematic fervor resonating across former French colonies in Africa. Protests in Senegal, replete with accusations of puppetry, have targeted the perceived influence of French President Emmanuel Macron over the Senegalese leadership. French gas stations' windows were shattered, and French supermarkets were set ablaze. In Burkina Faso, a coup was marked by tailors tearing apart French flags to reconstruct Russian ones horizontally, a defiant symbol of growing discontent. El Hadj Jitai, a Malian analyst and founder of the Timbuktu Center for Strategic Studies on the Sahel, underscores the awakening sweeping through sub-Saharan Africa. A rising cohort of young analysts dissect speeches, identifying patronizing undertones, diplomatic faux pas, and unabashed aggression. The proliferation of smartphones has democratized information, enabling even remote corners of the continent to access critiques previously confined to educated, urban circles. While misinformation occasionally clouds the narrative, much of the criticism focuses on the perceived hauteur of the former colonial power. Throughout history, these critiques, nestled primarily in West Africa, remained confined to small circles. Today, fueled by the democratization of information, these dissenting perspectives cascade through society. The glaring implications of this shift are evident in Mali. In a seismic reversal from a decade prior, French troops who once arrived as liberators are now met with mounting demands for their departure. The French military presence is decried as the catalyst for sanctions imposed by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, designed to pressure the junta into relinquishing power. A belief simmers that France manipulates ECOWAS, employing it as a proxy. Blame is attributed to France for its perceived failure to curb an insurgency spreading like wildfire, scorching Mali's borders and igniting a conflagration across the Sahel. The counterterrorism efforts of Malian troops, compounded by accusations of massacres alongside Russian mercenaries, cannot obfuscate France's alleged inaction. Further blame is heaped upon France for its alleged backing of former rebel groups from Mali's northern regions, labeled by many as indistinguishable from jihadists. For El-Bashir Thiam, nights spent guarding the guesthouse were punctuated by activism. Social media posts chronicled the deteriorating security situation, cultivating a following exceeding 35,000. Thiam's activism transcended the digital realm, co-founding on Atout Compris, an activist group that protested outside the French embassy and targeted French businesses. Subsequently, he embraced full-time activism, a fervor encapsulated by videos torching the French flag and images of dead French soldiers, provocatively labeled other terrorists. French military bases are now undergoing an exodus, ceding space to diplomatic overtures with Niger and Ivory Coast. The metamorphosis is profound. For years, France nurtured political and business relationships with its former colonies, a web perpetuating corrupt regimes and epitomizing Francafrique, an intricate network rife with exploitation. Although Emmanuel Macron promised a shift in France's approach, the reality remains disillusioning. His pledge to declassify secret files surrounding Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader's assassination, Thomas Sankara, and the recognition of France's complicity in the Rwandan genocide struck a chord. However, his summons to African leaders to quell rising anti-French sentiment resounded with arrogance. In Mali, a pivotal regional bellwether, resentment towards France deepened. Jean-Yves Le Drian's condemnation of Mali's junta as illegitimate sparked a diplomatic schism. The embassy's corridors, once resonant with diplomatic overtures, now echoed in unwelcome silence. Notably, an evolving sentiment of self-assertion reverberates. Residents of Mali's capital defiantly demand recognition, confronting the perceived condescension and manipulation by external forces. The sentiment of inferiority is discarded, replaced with a fervent rejection of paternalism. In quieter pockets, gratitude for France's interventions persists, particularly among those living within insurgency-riddled regions. The liberation of Timbuktu from jihadists in 2012 evokes admiration, revealing the complexities of sentiments held by communities with direct encounters with extremism. This paradoxical tapestry of feelings illustrates the intricate dynamic between former colonies and their colonial master. The calls for repudiation coalesce with the need for stability, underscoring the nuanced interplay of history and aspiration. As African voices rise from the shadows of colonialism, one truth prevails: the legacy of colonization endures as a complex narrative fraught with disillusionment, awakening, and fervor. An earnest reckoning beckons, a story of former colonies grappling to shape their destinies beyond the shadows of imperial domination.